Prottengeyer saying our roll call for today.
Trustee Melissa Augusta.
Here.
Trustee William Lawler, absent excused. Trustee Craig Messerneck, absent excused. Trustee Tara Mitchner.
Present.
Trustee Doreen Popard.
Present.
Trustee Ramesh Verma, absent excused. Trustee Jeff Wood.
Present.
Student representatives Ravina Joshi
Present.
and Student Representative Lahari Vavilala.
Here.
Okay, great. So now we can go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on our agenda is our approval and overview of the agenda. If anybody has any discussion or questions about that?
Move approval.
Second.
All right, approved.
You have to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye. It'd at least be
Okay.
a 50-50 then.
Yeah.
And now we can say that it sounds like an approval. Thanks, guys. I'm moving ahead of myself.
Teamwork.
Yes. And now for the consent agenda. That includes our claims and warrants. L554, approval of regular minutes from April 27th, and our approval of the library board goal-setting session meeting minutes.
Move acceptance.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sounds like an approval to me. Any correspondence? It looks like none that
We do not.
have. Okay. And now we have an amazing presentation by an amazing lady named April Stevenson, talking about summer reading. Welcome, April.
Thank you so much for having me this evening. So Summer Reading 2017 has already begun. It started May 15th. Let me give you a brief overview of what's going on this year by the ages. So for our very youngest, we are sticking with the 1,000 readers, the Raising a Reader in Novi. I am so happy to report that we had a goal of 250 for the year. And so as of today, we are at 273 signed up. And let's just be honest about that. Like I said, it just started for the summer, so it will heighten. So by the end of the time, yeah, we're going to be very excited about that. So basically, if you're not terribly familiar with it, we give it out to our very youngest infants through going into kindergarten. I'm not sure if you can see it there. Okay, they keep track of their titles that they read. We do have some suggested titles on the back, but we strongly encourage parents to stick with this and do it more than once, keep it going. You can never read enough books, so it's an awesome, awesome program. All right, so the overarching theme, as you can see from my t-shirt, is Build a Better World. Our next one that we have for our programming is for the K through 4th. So basically, children in this one are required to read 20 hours. Let me just hold this up for you. So we give these out to every student in the Novi School District. We visit all of the elementary schools. That's what we've been doing this week. That's why I'm dressed the way I am. Including tomorrow, we will be going to Novi Woods. So we get these out to every student. We talk it up. They are required to read 20 hours for the summer reading program, and then as a part of our partnership with the school, we encourage them to read an additional 10 hours to finish out the summer. If they do that and they take this brochure with them back to their teacher in the fall, they get a special surprise from the school as well. So a wonderful partnership there. There are weekly drawings for special prizes in this group beginning June 2nd, and if they finish, they get entered into the grand prize drawing as well as getting to go to Paradise Park. Another wonderful partnership with Paradise Park, and they've been doing that now with us since 2012. We're very thankful for that. Our next one we have is for tweens going through 6th grade. Again, Build a Better World. This one, they're a little bit more challenged. They have to read 24 hours total for us in order to get to Paradise Park. But again, also with the extra 10 hours for the school. Lots of great programs, by the way, for both of these groups. We're keeping with our STEAM Saturdays. We have, of course, if you haven't heard about our carnival, I encourage you to come to that. It's for the whole family. There is going to be food there, so you can have dinner, play games. We have partnered with Tony Sacco's for Pizza Time. They're going to come and throw dough around, teach the kids how to throw dough, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Mad Science of Detroit, again, STEAM Saturdays, Baffling Bill the Magician. So lots of fun for that younger group. For our tweens, as well as our high schoolers, we have something called Comic Art Camp. We are very excited about that. They're going to be learning how to pencil, ink, drawings, comics, and ultimately culminating with the use of it's called a Wacom tablet, and learning how to draw on that. We're going to be premiering that shortly. More to come on that one. They also have, the tweens will have a rock wall climbing adventure, and the teens will too. So that looks like it's going to be fun. Next on our hit parade here for summer reading is the teens going in through 7th grade. They are a little bit different. We give them full books that they need to read. They will have to do a minimum of 3 books and complete 5 activities. So we kind of expanded it this year to be not just reading. Some of those activities would include checking out an audiobook, a graphic novel, writing a book review, liking our Facebook page, joining Freegal, exploring Novelist, downloading the Overdrive app and checking out a book, attend a team program, sign up to be a volunteer, and volunteer for 1 hour. So just kind of shaking it up a little bit and just giving the teens something a little more to grasp onto for summer. One of the programs that they have planned, actually 2, don't want to take up too much time, but Kickoff Teen Summer Party is going to be a lot of fun. DIY animal shelter blankets, and life-size Pac-Man. So I know you must be familiar with Pac-Man. I cannot wait to go to that one. Yeah, not sure, but wow. And for all of you up here, my adults, there is our adult summer reading program. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up. This one also, when you sign up with this one, and same with the teens, you earn a free book or a free DVD. So right away we are gifting you and saying, here you go, have fun, get going. It's going to be great. With the adults, they also have activities. So we suggested for them things like attending a book discussion, reading a graphic novel, attending a foreign language conversation group. So really just trying to put out there what the library has to offer, and getting them more involved. We have several movie programs that we are saying to go to. Check out a music CD, join Freegal, read a mystery, different genres, something out of your normal range. Programs for the adults include classic movies, Craftastic Wednesdays, Cook the Book, Tom Sharp, who is coming up very soon, kind of excited about that one. A partnership with Home Depot and Dickey's Barbecue for License to Grill. Trivia Night, I know that's very popular right now. You might want to try that one out. And of course, using our 3D printer for our 3D print Pinewood Derby. So we're very excited about that. Just a few last minute things. As I mentioned, finishing school visits this week. And I do want to thank our sponsors for each of these programs for Raising a Reader, the Friends of the Novi Library, Vibe Credit Union, Novi Rotary, and Novi Schools, and for our Build a Better World. Again, our Friends organization, which is just absolutely phenomenal. Novi Schools, Everbrook Academy, 12 Oaks, Town and Country Eye Care, and of course, big shout out to Jeff and Teresa Wainwright at Paradise Park. Oh, and one more shout out. Christina Salvatore for designing our fantastic
Beautiful.
brochure. So if you haven't stopped by, please do. Any questions? Yes.
I don't have a question. I'm just sitting here saying to myself, wow, you've got goals and activities that are all there. I wrote down focus, energy, creativity, high expectations, expansiveness, stretching minds, inviting. It's just all of the above. And
Right.
so, thank you.
You're welcome. It's our passion, so.
And I don't
That's
have
easy.
a question, but I have a comment and a little praise report for April. We had took our kid to a program, and then we signed up for, our family signed up, the adults too. And April was just so bubbly, so helpful, giving us the best information. And she stood there and waited until we were like completely set. And then she said, "Do you need anything else?" And then she walked away. And I just thought, what a, customer service is my deal. So what a great service person, a great librarian, a great asset to our library. Thank you, April.
Thank you. And if I could add, I just want to thank April and her team. I really think that they have thought about summer reading in a way that allows everyone to get involved. And this year is a perfect example of them, not just doing the norm. Every library does 8 weeks of summer reading. Instead, what they do is they decide to expand it, and when they're out in the schools in May and they're talking about it, they're already started the program and allowing kids to drop in when they're remembering it and going right home from school that day saying, "Oh, the library came and talked about the summer program." You're not waiting until June until they're out of school. April's team has it already ready for you to walk in the door whenever you're ready to start summer reading. So we've actually added 4 more weeks, is that right, April, to the summer program. So we're on a 12-week program for summer reading now, when most libraries do 7 to 8, and that's because we didn't want the kids to have to wait. And I think that's awesome. That means more time, and they had to be ready earlier to do this, but it's because they wanted to make sure they touched as many kids as they could when they went out to the schools, and they were able to interact with them right then and there, and then provide the program and the services. So huge kudos to you and your team. She's got a very, very creative team. When I walk by the office and they have a whiteboard that has all the ideas that they're throwing around, it's amazing what's going on in those cubicles. So I do thank you and your team for all that they do. I think it'll be a great program.
I love all the activities that you added into it. So not just sitting, but doing something, trying different things. I love, love, love that. So, awesome. Thank you.
Also would comment on the power of good planning. And, it seems as though you're organized, you know what you're doing. It's very clear with the planning. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that went on before this. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, April.
Thank you, April. Okay. At this time in our meeting, in our agenda, we have our public comment. So in order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question-answer session, therefore library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. And seeing no one rushing to the podium, we will continue on to item number 9, which is our student representatives report.
For the programs, the Teen Volunteer Appreciation Event took place on April 11th. At this event, teen volunteers were recognized for their hard work throughout the year. A buffet-style meal was served, and the attendance was 20 people. The Maker Tween Club Chain Reaction took place on April 18th. Attendees worked together to create the ultimate chain reaction. 14 people attended. The Teen Volunteer Orientation for the Summer Reading Program took place on April 24th and on April 26th. This event was a required orientation meeting for teens who have already submitted applications to be volunteers for the Summer Reading Program. Information and demonstration of new software was presented, followed by a Q&A. Attendance was 18 and 28. For the Teen Space update, there were 241 attendees in Teen Space in April. There was no school from April 3rd to April 7th, and on April 14th.
For the Teen Advisory Board update, the second to last Teen Advisory Board meeting took place on April 21st. At this meeting, the officer positions were discussed and elections will be taking place at the next meeting. The teen intern positions were also introduced. A summer reading program decorating committee was formed of interested students. Then students took a TAB survey and suggested ideas for what can be done in TAB next year to make it even more enjoyable. Program ideas and TAB meeting activity ideas were also discussed. Finally, members enjoyed making puppy chow during the meeting. The attendance for that was 24. And for the upcoming programs, Simple Summer Recipes on June 6th, the Kickoff Teen Summer Party on June 16th, the Summer Carnival Extravaganza at First Park on June 20th, comic art camp on June 22nd, and t-shirt design on June 28th. And for the captions for the pictures, for the first picture, some of the library's teen volunteers with Information Services librarian Lindsay Fricky at the Novi Public Library are recognized for their efforts at the Teen Volunteer Appreciation event. And for the second, caption for the second photo is, attendees try to construct a chain reaction using many different materials during the Maker Tween Club.
For the last caption, the Teen Advisory Board members enjoy the puppy chow.
Nice.
Why puppy chow?
What was it made of?
I believe it was made of, frost and frosted mini wheats.
Oh, it was, okay.
Yeah.
So, something unique to chow on.
It was chocolatey and it was good for sure.
It was good.
Nice.
And then also, I'd like to note on page 24, this is the certificate that was received. You saw the video last month of our Teen Advisory Board, and the video that they won for producing the video for Build a Better World for the Summer Teen Video Challenge. So I just wanted to see, we received that afterwards. But thank you, ladies, and I know that they are not going to be at our June meeting because they both have some final things to be involved in with our school, but they will return in July, and they will have their annual presentation of all the things that have been accomplished
Oh, great.
through the tab in the last year, so we will see them in July.
And we will look forward to that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again. Okay, so I don't have anything for the president report at this time. If you go to, let's see, we do have a request for a executive session in June, for June's meeting.
Correct.
So that is something that we're looking at doing in June. But other than that, we don't have a goals update for this time.
We do not.
And we also are just looking at that. So those are just the only two items for president's report.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Are we going to have something from Ravish prior to that meeting? That is what I'm hoping. That's usually what's done. In fact, Trustee Mitchner, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to him, since
can do
he's
that.
not here this evening, and just get that ball rolling, that would be great.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Knowing that you're both sharing HR, so I appreciate
Yeah, we
that.
do. Yep, no, it's good.
Thank you.
And that was a great question, Melissa. Anyone else have any? Yeah.
Even though there is no goals update, the minutes show some of the goal sessions that occurred that we had on our goal-setting session. And so we're hoping to see some of those coming
Right,
forth.
you will
But
approve
we-
some goals tonight.
Right, but we at least had the foundation for that discussion
Yes,
provided.
yes. And then you will see a final goals update for 16-17. You'll see in the July packet, because that'll reflect through June.
Gotcha.
Yes.
That's good.
Yep, good stuff. Okay, so without further ado, we'll move on to the treasurer's report with Melissa Augusta. You're welcome.
Starting on pages 25 to 27, that is showing our approved budget for Fund 268. Fiscal year 2016-17 calls for revenue of $2,774,726. That's the green column. And on page 27, approved budget for 2016-17 shows expenditures of $3,035,900, consuming $261,174 of the fund balance. On page 28 and 29, that is actually, isn't that the budget report on 28 and 29? That's not revenue and expenditures, is it? This is for your 269 account. So these are just your budgets for 269. Right, but it says revenue and expenditure report, but that's just our budget, right? Okay, I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure. I'm like,
Correct.
It says revenue and expenditure.
So it's the
report.
current one that we're in and the one that was just approved.
Correct,
Yes.
okay. All right, and then on pages, the revenue and expenditure report starts on 30 and goes to page 33. So the final numbers for effective April 30th for the revenue and expenditure report, page 33. Total revenue is $2,786,826. $821.77. That's effective April 30th, which shows an increase of $10,386. Total expenditures effective April 30th is $2,191,683. That's an increase of the previous month, from the previous month of $201,312. Sorry about that. So I kind of broke it down in simple terms. We have a budget of $3 million. We've used 2.2 million approximately, leaving $844,000 of our budget. Estimating approximately $200,000 a month with only 2 months left, leaving us right now with over four months. So we are looking to not use any of our fund balance with unforeseen, without having any unforeseen expenditures. Any questions so far?
So to summarize, it would be.
Okay, so right now, we've used 2.2 million. We have a $3 million budget, right, for the year? So that's leaving over 4 months of budget. What I'm saying is, we have 800,000, we only have 2 months of budget left, right? We have May and June. We spend approximately $200,000 a month. So we only have 2 months left, but we still have $800,000.
So we'll probably have a $400,000 surplus is what
Well,
you're
I'm assuming,
predicting?
let's go
roughly?
high. So let's say we use 250,000, right? So that's approximately 500,000. And then we have last minute things that come in. So I'm estimating that we should have, I'm hoping that over $100,000 of positive for our fund balance. Does that sound?
Sounds like a 300,000.
I know, but I'm going to be conservative, because there's always things
There
that
are,
sneak in those last 30 to 60 days that still go from the previous year.
And I always want to, because the building was built and launched in late spring, a lot of expenditures occur in the spring months, renewals and things like that. And that's where we're at with a lot of technology and things. So it's not that we're going to go over budget.
No.
In those lines, but you see a lot of expenditures.
Yeah,
at the
and
end
it
there, but-
still goes under this current budget year, but they come in after, the final June date. So bottom line is we are in we're on a good path.
I forget, where's the different revenues coming from this compared to 268?
268 is,
Or, yeah.
269 is the special account.
Yeah, the contributed
But-
fund.
But where did the revenues
From
come
268,
for 269? Or 268, yeah.
268 is all revenue tax based.
Tax rate, okay.
About 90% of it
90% of
is.
it is tax based.
Yep.
Some of it's from the state, some of it's from overdue, room rentals, but,
So if you look, Jeff, currently at the property tax revenue under the year-to-date, page 30,
Yep.
$2,538,000 has come in, and we had budgeted, we budgeted 2,491, the
Right.
original budget. So
What-
we're,
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens with surpluses then?
it stays in our fund balance.
Just stays in the fund balance? Converts to the fund balance?
Yes.
Okay.
It stays in there. So last year, we had $30,000 that stayed in our fund
Correct.
balance from the revenues.
So how many years in a row have we not dipped into fund balance?
Last year was the first
yeah,
year.
last year was the first year in
And
a
it
number of
This will be
years.
the second
This
year.
will
hope.
be the second. All right, any more questions, and I'll finish?
Music to a trustee's ears.
Yes, well, mine too, yeah.
Well, and even next year, this year, we estimated using 261,000, and we're still gonna be in the positive. Next year, we're estimating only 100.
180.
Yeah, so if you think about it that way,
That's why I'm asking these questions.
Right,
No.
yeah, because next year, we even estimated less, it's 103,000. So we're just pushing ourselves more into the positive, for sure.
Okay, good.
And another thing to note, if you don't mind, on page 30, when you look at the state aid, we've only received one of our state aid checks, and typically that does come in towards the end of the year. If you see that we budgeted $29,018 so far has been received, so I expect some more revenue money coming from the state, hopefully by the end of this fiscal,
By the end of
before we
June.
close it out. So
How
that'll
is
be-
that state aid allocated?
It's
Based on-
allocated based on the state aid report that has to be turned in annually. So there's a lot of different factors into what, we get and how the numbers determine, but it's programming and hours that were open and revenue. They take all those different things into account when they create what each library receives.
And so which department at the state level allocates that?
Department of Education,
Department of Education.
we fall under their umbrella. Yeah. So far, I haven't heard too many negatives about, the money has stayed, it stayed, there's been lots of questions and a lot of things coming up, but I haven't heard any losses to date.
And so the discussion currently with the budget at the federal level with Betsy DeVos agreeing to $9 billion cut in education
I haven't heard that it's,
will
yeah,
not necessarily impact us, or we don't know?
I don't know. Right.
All right, I'll continue.
Hoping we-
The revenue and expenditure report for Fund 269, it's on page 34. Total revenues is $16,989.05. Total expenditures are $8,076.29, leaving positive of $8,912.76, and that's for Fund 269. All right, balance sheet, which is on page 35. For Fund 268, our current fund balance as of April 30th is $1,755,110.14. And our fund balance for Fund 269 is $1,671,812.62. Any questions?
And all that means,
That's how much money we have in our accounts.
Any other questions for Melissa? All right,
well
thank
done.
You guys had a lot
thank
today.
thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to the director's report. Julie?
So the first thing that's in my report, the director's report, is the revised policies and talking about the policy manual. I'd actually like to make a recommendation to the board this evening. With us being 3 members down tonight, we are not at a critical point where this policy manual needs to be approved this evening, and I would like to bring it back for June if everyone is comfortable with that.
I agree.
So that'll give you all more time to look through the revisions and bring questions, and then we'll have, I would think, a really good conversation in June if there are any. I know they've been reviewed by the staff. They've been reviewed by our policy committee. We also did a review and had questions and conversation at our May 6th meeting, which you can revert to for the minutes if you'd like, so that you can see where those conversations went. I think we will be in a very good place in June when we bring them back. But I do know that there were a couple questions from some board members that aren't here this evening, and I am fine with, if you all are, to hold out. Okay?
Everybody feel good about that?
so there were like 6 of these policies that were reviewed by the attorney after the questions raised at our last meeting?
Well, we didn't have the policy reviews for the attorneys' meeting. Remember, I said that I was waiting for
Right.
those. So those policies came afterwards, so they're not revisions you have seen until you got them,
That's
correct?
right. Okay.
Yep. So I think it's, like I said, we're not in any rush. I'd rather have really good policies and good conversation before approving them, and we're not in any critical need. So what I'll do is I will actually bring this information back from my report to the June meeting as well, and we'll just remind everyone to bring their packets, and you have all the information. It was sent electronically, and then you have it in hard copy.
It sounds like everybody feels good about that.
Is that, okay,
Awesome.
wonderful, thank you. Below that is out and about, so just some of the different meetings and opportunities for me to be out in the community this past month. Did have the opportunity to meet our new Chamber of Commerce
executive director, and we're going to be doing some things with her, which I'm excited about. Had the opportunity to go out to Fox Run to their expo, which was another wonderful opportunity, and that actually stemmed a meeting that happened today to do some potential programming with Fox Run at our library and get Fox Run residents out to 10 Mile and Taft. So I'm excited about that. I had the opportunity to be at the Metro Detroit Book and Author event, which is a wonderful author event that happens twice a year. Over 1,000 people in attendance listening to authors and their new books, and that always gives me an opportunity even for a potential, author that we might be looking at to bring locally. So I love having that opportunity as well. Attended our spring quarterly breakfast, and we introduced a number of new staff that we've brought on, and then they also brought back the city's tour for employees so that any new employees could actually take a tour of the city and get to know it a little better, and I love that, and our staff took part in it and enjoyed it. We did have a Tony Sacco's fundraiser. They offered that if you stopped in and purchased something in the restaurant or even takeout, they were going to give back to the library 20%, so that just happened. We didn't have a very good turnout, but it's a great relationship with a business, and I know they'd be willing to do it again, so it's a good start. Moving forward. Oh, I think there are a number of. Yeah. Page 38 is the goals that were discussed and brought forth. We'll go ahead and do that under matters for board action.
Yep.
So I'll move to page 39, which is Barb Rakowski's IT report. What I wanted to point out to you there is on page 40, 41, and 42, Barb's department did an IT survey to the public, and what I'm bringing back to you is questions that came up and how Barb's team has answered them. These went on our website and also in our e-newsletter. So I'm sure if someone's asking them, there might be other people that might have wondered the same. So she's been able to give some good answers to why we do the things we do, or if we haven't done something.
I loved your answer.
Yes, I do too.
So funny, so cute, and
Yep.
just so much, very nice. I love that.
Yeah. And I think it's good to respond, and this is our only way to respond to patrons this way. They don't put contact information on the surveys. And plus, I see it as more valuable when everyone can read them as a whole, the
Yeah.
community. So good questions, good things that we're doing, and good answers. Then we have on page 43, Keith Perfect's facility report. Nothing major there. I can tell you that we have had some meetings that are moving along some projects, and I'll talk about that in our committee updates. April Stevenson's report, and as you can see, she on page 46 said we had 226 kids registered for 1,000 books, but you now know that it's 270. We did meet and surpass our goal of 250. I'm very excited, and that will continue to grow. When we went out to Fox Run back in May, if you look on page 47, we surveyed the Fox Run residents as we were there. So, it's great when you can have that dialogue with them and ask them a few questions, and they were very helpful. So here's some answers and some things that they're looking for, and we'll continue to do that to have a pulse on what they're wanting from Novi's library. It was nice to see that a lot of them really love what we're doing already. And they are very pleased with the services they get. I know that they are partial to and love their own library that they have at Fox Run, but they are very supportive of us as well. Page 49 is Mary Ann Zermulin's support services report. And nothing different or out of the ordinary from there. And then we have some of our statistics that are included that have been asked by board members. We also have on page 54, bits and pieces. This is the report from Jim Pletz, who is the director of TLN, which is our consortium. I can tell you that we did make a vote and decision to move forward with a new vendor. It was brought to the TLN board, and that also has been approved. So we will be going for a new system, and that'll begin planning in the fall for it to launch in the spring, around April of 2018. for a whole new system. That will be a lot of work on Mary Ann Zermulin's support services team, along with our reference librarians. Basically, they're going to be learning a whole new catalog system and how to help patrons with, finding materials and placing holds and stuff, and it's gonna have a whole new look because it will be a whole new vendor. Mary Ann's team, also on top of just the catalog, Mary Ann's team, it's a whole new system to learn for when you're checking out materials, when you're doing fines and fees, all that is going to be all new software. A lot of training will go on with Mary Ann's department, probably beginning in early winter through the winter and then leading up until spring. Well, it had been a number of years that we had been with the vendor. It was time to go out because, you, after so much, you should go out and look for new ideas and new opportunities. I think they were hoping to stay with the vendor. Unfortunately, I do know for sure, and I can say this, the vendor did not meet some of the needs that we were looking for as a consortium. We have over 50 libraries that use the system together, and we all have different ideas and different rules and things. We follow some together and not. So it's a lot to handle, and we want new things. We want to move forward with the technology. And we had asked this vendor that we were currently with 13 years, these are things that are pretty standard now in libraries, and we want this type of service and customer service to be able to give to our patrons. It wasn't happening. So, and it turns out the vendor that we will be going to is actually a little less money, so I should see a little less on my budget as we move forward, which is great. So I'm excited about that. Page 55, we offered a wonderful movie last night and a panel discussion for the documentary 13th. And we had about 35 people in attendance. It was a great program. In fact, Trustee Mitchner and Trustee Papard, thank you so much for coming out and supporting. I love offering these types of programs, along with the other programs that we offer, just having community conversations and bringing out different ideas and an opportunity for people to gain knowledge or learn in a different way, I think is a great opportunity. And I do believe our community wants that, and they are educated and they look for that. So this was a great program to offer, and that was in conjunction with our Parents of African American Students in Novi. We had the police department that also was a sponsor, and the school district. So it went over very well. I think the people that were in attendance enjoyed it and enjoyed the conversations.
Yeah. It was well done.
Great service to our community.
I think so too. Any questions or comments?
I just look at, the survey from Fox Run, which is really wonderful. Do we do a survey with Meadowbrook? Do we offer the same kinds of services with Meadowbrook Commons? You have a marvelous relationship with Fox Run. You're there frequently and provide many, many services that don't even show up here.
Right.
And so, do you do that same thing at Meadowbrook Commons?
We actually have different services. Actually, with Meadowbrook, we're actually bringing our outreach cart and materials to them because Fox Run doesn't need it with their library. Right. So it's a little bit different service. We have surveyed them in the past. We didn't take this particular survey to them because we knew we were going to be at Fox Run. But yes, we do. We do survey them and get feedback periodically. But we have seen that they're different needs. And they do work very closely with already older adults through the Parks and Rec Department.
Right.
So they have a built-in program already with them, and we don't want to duplicate some of those services. So we will look for different things, which our outreach carts and delivery has been.
Like, I love all the reading things you're doing with children and pre-kindergarten and with parents and in general. What percentage of older adults do you think the library serves?
Well, I could actually get that information. We did a run of that in terms of library cards and usage just a couple of years ago, I think, and I could find that out for you. I do believe we have a good older adult population that is using us. I do. If you look at the statistics with support services, that's us going out to the older adult community and checking out materials for them. So there's constant checkouts. Plus, we see a lot of them with our afternoon concerts. That's a big population that uses the library for that purpose. We have a knitting group that tends to be that particular group. Our book discussions, our senior book discussion that we have at the library. So I do believe we are bringing in that particular segment.
Because I have a tendency to say, yay for all the children
Right.
activities. And
I
then
think
I'm
you should
saying,
say
"Oh,
yay for
what
older
about my
adults
little
too."
group?"
I do, because I do think they enjoy and they do take part in,
Have we done anything about like grandparent reading for children or any kinds of tutorial kinds of connection with older and younger patrons?
we haven't done much of that. We've actually done more with animal reading with animals and
Yes.
stuff we've done, but we haven't done, we tried a grandparents, like, we used to have a grandparents program and celebrate grandparents during that, I think it's October, it might be
Yes.
end of September, but October.
September.
And we've done that, but, and that didn't seem to go
Didn't resonate.
over real well,
Well,
yeah.
probably a lot of the children who attend have grandparents and
Right, and
It's-
celebrate in a
it's-
different way instead
yes,
of potentially going to
yes.
the library that day, but I do think there's always still more opportunities for connecting them.
thank you.
You're welcome. Any other?
Does that conclude your?
It does, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much, Julie. Okay, so moving on to the committee reports. Policy?
Policy is that we're finished with our work. It's now in Julie and hand, and I think it's good to postpone it until we have a full board.
Thank you, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks. And HR committee, and actually Julie's going to speak a little bit to the HR committee notes.
Yes, so we, just for dates, we have some final information, first of all, about salary study we've been looking at and gathering information. And we are trying to get a meeting, I believe we're set, no, we're not, sorry, that's another committee. I'm trying to get a meeting with the HR committee to meet and go over that information. And then there is the director's annual evaluation, which will be next month. But I sent an email to all of you. I learned new information about some of the salary compensation that is for the city of Novi, that unfortunately doesn't compare to the library, which was information I didn't receive until just this week. And we had done some planning for our budget time in January, and it's off a little bit. I'd like to bring some information to you next month for us to have a conversation and see if there is any changes that the board would like to do based on the new information that I've found through the HR committee, through the HR department of the city. And that's in regard to salary compensation. So I will bring that, I'll bring some numbers and what those changes would be to see if there's any interest in doing any changes.
This would be both for the temporary and the permanent salaries? Under
Correct.
the budget there?
Yep, yeah.
So it looks like just at a glance here, probably something like a $90,000 increase, is that right? 0.5% or no? Am I doing my math wrong?
No, because we had
Or what?
budgeted
Oh, no,
2,
I
and it's
got-
going to 2.5, if that's what.
So $9,000,
Yeah.
$9,000 difference, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
Okay.
but I want to run the numbers for you.
Okay.
And actually, there's been changes, there's been new employees, so there's going to be differences already, which might be to the good.
Yeah.
It might not be as much as we even think, but I just would appreciate, we have in past years always looked to our neighbor from the city to be comparable if we could. And when I was doing budgeting, I did reach out and asked and did receive 2%, but it turns out it's going to be higher, and they approved that this week.
And that's why I was asking a lot of questions on
Yeah.
how we're doing with this year's budget. 'cause
And
I think that,
and I'm glad you did.
I think that plays into that decision, and we'll know better next month.
Right.
With one more month.
$300,000 estimated this year, next year is a third of that, but we're still gonna be in the positive, so we really potentially have, yeah.
So
My
I'll do those
question is-
calculations and bring them to you for a
Is
discussion.
that something that we need to vote on, the increase?
Yes.
If it, no matter, even though it still may fall within budget?
Well, if it falls, it's still going to be an increase, and it's going to increase your expenditures regardless, and you have already approved a budget. So what we'll have to do is, if you do that at the June meeting, I will then turn over and give those changes and a revision to the city so that when they go through their quarterly updates, they will update our budget and reflect those new numbers.
When you do that, will you also look at maybe some other expenditures and see maybe if certain things have changed over the years? and
balance
try to
out,
Figure a
yeah.
way to balance that out?
Yeah, I could.
If that's a possibility.
It's hard to do when I'm,
But if we're looking at, I
Yeah.
mean, just to put it in perspective, if it's $9,000, how much work, I guess,
Right.
I know, but I
But-
just remember our discussions that when there was a small a discrepancy amount, how
Right.
Could be
it
balanced
created
out,
everybody
yeah.
was so upset. They just don't want to increase that possible fund balance usage.
Yeah.
And that's, I was just trying to figure out a way to maybe take from,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or is there a way to bring 269 in to pay for part of the lighting costs? And that
That's
way,
creative,
it could
yeah.
decrease the expenditures, use some of the 269, then it will be using the fund balance of 268.
There is, and that, with that
And that's
being
what I was
a
just trying to
building
think of.
project
Oh, that's
expense.
creative, I like
What
that.
could we do for the 269?
Sure.
So that we're using it for something.
Right.
That we can say, thank you, you helped us.
Right.
And then still not using that 268. So I was just trying.
Right,
know,
and
It's
you
really
already
helpful.
have that, so you will see, if you look at page, no, that's a good point. If you look at, let's see, so we're looking at page 27, and we're saying 70,000 under, you're looking at the capital outlay towards the bottom of the page. We're saying 20,000, or 70,000 is potentially that LED project. If you take that out and say that it's going to be 269 this year, so that would change the 269 budget. I mean, that's a conversation to have in June. That would definitely change that number immensely. You would be really bringing down the expenditures. And yet it's coming from building funds. Which, right now, you have about 39, you have 40,000 already allocated out of 269 for the lending library, but you would up that and add the LED project if you wanted, or half of it even. Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay.
So that, yeah, no, that's a great point. And it's a great thing to be thinking about then for June when I bring you those numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what has to, I mean, so what kind of expenditures can go in 269? Is there like a definition of that? I mean, Is there-
It should be, it's always been earmarked for the most part for building, not operations, but building.
Like
Because it was
capital expenses?
Correct, because it was the Walker Fund and it was towards the start of the new building.
Okay.
So doing the LED project makes sense,
Oh,
and the
makes-
lending library being
yeah.
outreach. You wouldn't want to spend it on personnel or things like that. But that's, yeah.
How is the money put into that account?
In terms of donations and stuff, that's, yeah.
It's a small, if you look at the.
Yeah, it's really donations and things that we
Yeah,
receive that come
really
in.
that balance is.
Or
is
sponsorships.
what it is, and it's to be used for the building.
Right.
Special things that, you know, but it's not something that grows. The budget is actually pretty balanced, you know, based on donations or, you know,
and the interest on it?
sponsors.
Right, the interest that we receive on
So,
it.
so we try to probably keep within spending of whatever that interest is to keep the,
But it was given to be used for the building.
It
So
was.
It's nice to have, but it's there to be used for
Yes.
special things.
Right. And it's now, we have it in 5 categories. So it is building and grounds, programming, collections, technology. So those are the, those are the categories now that really service the community for the most part. Like I said, personnel and things like that you wouldn't want.
Yeah.
If you
Right.
page 29 during, right
Yes.
there under expenditures, it says collection materials, buildings, programming, technology.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Those are the categories that they've kind of developed.
That's helpful.
And that's where the lending library is falling into and such.
Any other questions on any of this from anyone?
I really commend looking at Melissa's suggestion. I think that
Yeah, I
that's very
do.
creative.
I think
I
so.
also have a question. Will this only affect salary of those that already were given a 2.0, if you would, based on the assessment and the supervision of goals?
Anyone who's-
Or will it affect everybody trickling on down?
Right. Anyone who is meeting expectations
Right.
would instead get 2.5
Right.
instead of 2.
Right.
Because that's what we're looking at.
Is there a 1.5 that's affected?
There's a 1.
A 1, but they
So
did
it would
not
stay the same.
institute a 1.5.
Right. So and then it goes from 2 to 3. So we'll be going from 2.5 to 3, in terms of if you exceeded expectations, because those were,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring all that back to you so you can see how it's,
I was just wondering if
Structured.
it just affected one category, or there was a trickle-down impact.
I guess I don't understand your
It
question.
sounds like it affects two categories, right? So it would affect, because you have a 2.5, you'll have now a 2.5 instead of a 2, correct?
Right, we would make that the meet expectations. You wouldn't have a 2.
Right, so no more 2, so you have
Oh,
2.5,
that-
and then you have,
Yes,
you
does
said
that
3.
answer? So you're,
Okay.
yes.
And you have a 3, correct?
Right, we had a 3 for exceeding, correct.
So it was
So it'll be
1, 2,
2.
3,
Yeah,
and now it's 1, 2.5, and 3.
Yeah.
So it's just that one category? Okay.
Yeah, because that's, from the city, that is their meets expectations that they're offering.
Okay.
okay. I think we're good there. Thank you, Julie.
Yes, you're welcome.
And Finance Committee, anything? Looks like no action.
There is not, yes.
Events and marketing, there's just a couple things. We have a meeting on June 13th.
Yes.
And we also are looking into polo shirts for our library board members.
And I have information that'll come out at that meeting.
Oh, good.
Okay, so we'll talk about that
Correct.
next month.
Yep.
But
Yep.
just a little tag for you. Stay tuned.
So we are moving forward with that.
I had a question on the HR committee that I
sure.
did not ask,
Okay?
which is, are you getting together to talk about the survey that the board would like to have with the staff?
That's all part of the meeting I'm trying to put together.
In
Okay,
mid-June.
We'll be
Yep.
part of that, too.
Yeah.
All right, Thank you.
So that'll be coming soon. We'll probably get an email from Julie on that.
Yes, you will.
Okay. And then moving forward, strategic planning.
I think we're completed for the year.
You are.
Yep. And then we are at our Building and Landscape Committee, and there is a note here. Julie, do you want to read that note? or-
Sure, yep.
Okay.
So there were a couple things that happened. I was able to meet with trustee Verma and Lawler. They met with me for the company that we went ahead and approved last month in order to move forward with the bid specs for the LED conversion project. That is moving along. In fact, we've received their proposal. We'll be signing that based on the cost, which was not to exceed $7,500. And there will be a walkthrough next week to start putting together those specs and information. It was a very good meeting, positive. Both trustee Lawler and trustee Verma enjoyed meeting the vendors, and they were very satisfied with the company and what they'll be doing for us for that work. So it's still a time frame of hopefully getting the bid specs and everything written up through June and putting the bid out in July, with it being out in the public for about a month, getting that back, and hopefully honoring the bid and then moving forward with fall for the LED conversion. So,
I just saw that we spent $4,476 on lights, and I'm like, oh.
and we did, and we had to. And I mean, when I have parking lot lights, yeah. When I have parking lot lights go out and stuff, and it's like, I can't have parking lot
Yeah.
lights go. So
Yeah.
we're on that, I know. And I
Same.
had to replace one. I actually had to have a cherry picker come in, and that's a cost, to do it. But I had lights that were in the main entrance, and it was so dark, and I'm like, I can't wait any longer. We were able to get
Yeah.
through, and I'm like, ugh. So
Yeah.
we're right on that teetering of these 7 years in the warrant,
That's an
the
interesting
lights.
question. What are we gonna do with all the old stuff? Is that?
They take it and they actually recycle it for us. They will handle all of that.
Okay.
Whoever the company is that, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that have a value or anything?
I don't know.
There's usually a cost for disposal, but
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
if
just
you,
wondering, I mean, the lights work, right?
well, it's the bulbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
I am excited though, because they're very aware of DTE and the rebates and things, so we should be able to benefit from that when we go through the process, so.
And you let us know if we have any rebates and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll see a big change in our bills too,
Yeah.
as we get started, so. And definitely supply costs and stuff, we shouldn't be having to purchase
Maintenance.
anything, yes. Maintenance.
Absolutely.
I would like to commend you, Julie, for listening to the trustees' concerns about all the costs that went into this and the analysis, and setting up a meeting with the trustees so that they understood, and
Yep.
we can now move ahead. So,
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so moving forward, bylaw committee, I think you guys are done, all done? Okay. So now we are at the point in our agenda for our next public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, The library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session, therefore library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. And I don't see anyone coming forward to the podium, so I think we'll move right on to matters for board action. So we have an approval of the 2017-2018 library board goals. And that is a separate document inside of your packet, if you want to take a look.
Is that page 38?
Page 38. Okay.
So at the meeting, there was much discussion about our goals, and the board was happy with keeping the current goals as they were, but putting in a focus for certain projects that we knew that would be coming up in 17-18. So that's why we've structured the goals in this manner this year. So you can see for each goal, there's a focus. Under number 1, for maintain excellent customer service in all facets of the library's operations, board functions, and community involvement, the focus is the lending library at Lakeshore Park. Balance the needs of the community with fiscal responsibility and reduce the deficit spending. The focus is the LED conversion project and continuing with our planning of an endowment. The third goal is provide quality and diverse services, materials, programs, and technology. Our focus is some virtual reality programming that we're planning for fall of 2017 and on, and fostering connections with our diverse community. Our fourth goal, promote the library in Novi's residential and business communities and provide outreach to non-library users. Our focus will be the library card campaign, which will take place in mid-August through September, and the 1,000 books before kindergarten, and library board meetings out in the community, which we're working with Fox Run, I know, to take one. We'll continue to do that. And then our fifth goal is to ensure that the library maintains policies and planning strategies that promote safe, efficient, productive, and enjoyable experiences for patrons and staff. And the focus is a staff survey by the library board and the continuation of our HR salary review. Any questions?
Can you tell me how the strategic objectives interface with and are around the library goals?
You mean how we set them up, or?
Well, just how do you deal with them organizationally? I mean, I love the strategic objectives, fuel the community's passion for reading and
I think
learning,
those are
and where-
broader,
I do
much
too.
broader, and then our
Yeah.
goals become more definitive, for
more
the year.
specific.
But the goals don't necessarily flow from the strategic objectives.
Well,
I guess I have to really think about
they
that.
look synergistic.
To come out with
Yeah.
a better question.
Well, I think the fuel for Novi's community passion for reading, you can look down into,
The 1,000 books.
provide
and-
quality and diverse services. So that's helping to fuel it, promoting the library and so I think what it.
So there are several goals that affect each
I
of
think
these.
so. I
Yeah.
think they all kind of tie into,
Yeah.
they take the strategic objectives, and then they narrow it down to, okay, what can we do to help make these strategic objectives move forward?
Right.
And where did the strategic objectives come from?
From a strategic planning, 9 months of strategic planning that we did in early 2012.
So
It
the
took about 9 months to do that.
strategic plan had all of these, that's where inform, inspire,
Yes.
and include
Came about as well.
came about.
Mhm. And I'll be happy to tell you, because I know you're on the strategic planning committee, as you can see there, the strategic
Same.
plans, it's 2013 to 2018. We're up for a really big project, trustee
Right.
Papard.
Yes.
We are.
You said that it took it was a 9-month
9 months.
process?
And I did it this time. My recommendation, because we've not had a formal strategic planning process in a number of years, would be maybe to bring a consultant in, do some phone surveys in the community. I mean, really tap the community, because we haven't in over 10 years. We've not done that. The last time they did a full-on survey and interacted with the community was when they were getting ready to find out if the community would support the bond for the new building.
So this would be the time now, we did our own in-house stuff, saved money, but this would be the time now to consider doing something bigger and broader.
Do you have like data for like what the, that consultant did the last time?
We
You know,
do. We
something
still
that we
have
could
all of-
review and look at?
We still have all of it, yes. It's about 10 years old, but I've got it.
It'd be good to kind of understand what they did and
Yes.
what we paid for, because
Yeah.
I'm not a big
Well,
consultant guy. paying
And,
for it.
and to your point, trustee Wood, that's why I offered back in 2012 to follow the American Library Association guidebook for strategic planning. So I followed that book and we did a grassroots approach and did it in-house. Did it save us $20,000 in consulting fees? Yes, it did. But I think you might at some point take me out of the loop of things, because I did it. I don't want there to be a bias, which I don't believe there is, but to have someone come in and really do some of that data analysis. And actually, phone surveys are pretty good if you can, and I know libraries that have done them, where we really could be talking to people who don't necessarily visit the library either. And that's the part we're not always getting, is that community. And then if you're not, why? Why aren't you coming? So, I understand your point, I do, to consultants, and I do agree with you. And maybe we don't have to do to an extent either, but get some of that data and have some smaller.
Well, if we evaluate it and just, make the right decision with the right data, whether we go forward.
Well, I have a question, though. If this expires in June of 18, we already have our budget set for that, because we would have to start that
Well, you could,
in next year's.
I don't think you have to. I mean, like I said,
Okay.
it takes 9 months, and I think we'd be okay if we went a few months without it and then
Okay.
unveiled it. I don't think there's a worry there.
I think this is the first time that I've seen the strategic objectives with the goals.
Oh, okay, because the document, yeah, we've had it, but
It's the first time I really have been focused
Sure.
on the juxtaposition of the two.
sure.
And, I love the strategic objectives, and the goals are a little bit more specific, but, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other discussion about the goals at all? Sounds like we're,
I move that we accept the goals as submitted in our agenda and worked on at the board retreat. But I move that we accept the library goals as submitted.
gotcha.
I second that.
Okay, do we have any discussion? Sounds like no. Aye, if we agree?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, sorry. I'm getting used to my role here. Okay, so I think that sounds like an approval, yay. So at this point, our next matter for board action is number 16, which is adjourn. Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry.
Oh, I say that. Motion to adjourn.
No, it's okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.